What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast episode 352. Another fine Sunday, and we have a guest with us this week sharing all the greatest news of the week. Greatest news of the week? Biggest news in gaming of the week, I should say. Anyway, I don't know about greatest, but it's been one heck of a week. The seemingly pre-legendary Silksong, meaning it was legendary before it even released, broke everything in sight. We're going to be talking about that. Whole bunch of good game releases we're going to be talking about. And we've got a couple other topics as well, including the 007 First Light reveal, Take-Two, Almost Buying Perfect Dark, and Helldivers hitting #1 on Xbox, which is cool to see. But we are back. We are here. And I'm here with my main man, the Thai man himself. You're looking a little disheveled this morning, my friend. You doing all right?
I'm looking to tell Travis that.
Yeah, just slightly. It's just the hair. I don't have hair, so I don't know how to look disheveled other than my normal face.
Yeah. I got a shower. I did tabletop RPGs for like 12 hours yesterday. First Saturday of the month. Come on down to old Thai guy's place. You want to play some
typical Saturday
games. You know how it is, but GMing's hard work, guys. It's tough.
Yeah, that's cool though. I've told you before. I wish I was nearby because I'd join you.
Yeah, well, my PCs ignored the first 2 acts of my story and went off and did something else. Like any good GM, I was prepared for such a scenario. I had many things written and ready to go, and we made it, but it was a little touch and go. Everybody had a good time. But yes, I'm exhausted, but I'm here. And I'm ready to talk about Vidges.
The games. Yes, the games.
Yeah,
all right.
How you doing, Hogue?
Oh, he segued for me. Look at this.
He did. Look at he's trying to take over your show.
A little bit of hosting, little host action there.
I didn't do any DMing or role playing yesterday. I just watched college football, hung out with my daughters, and then I watched whatever the Michigan football team put out there on the field last night. Congratulations to Oklahoma. I have deep concerns about the coaching and direction for the Michigan Wolverines football team. But we won't share them with you on this video game podcast because that's not what we do here.
Fair enough. Yeah, I won't even ask further questions there because I know you can certainly talk about it. But joining us for, I believe, the second time now is our good friend and season gaming contributor, Don. You know him as Don Lionheart. We know him as Joe. How we doing?
Hey guys, good to be here. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Doing pretty good. It's a beautiful Sunday here, and I'm happy to talk some Vidges. I guess
Vidges. Is that what we're going with from now on?
All right. We might as well. Travis coined it.
That's right.
Fair enough. So yeah, we've got a few things to get into, a couple things to mention just at the top. So if you missed us last week, we did kind of talk about the fact that we're going to really be kind of a 90-minute focused show now. So we're on that cadence, same type of topics, talking about the games we're reviewing and playing and other main topics. It's just kind of more in a condensed format. So just giving you that heads up if you missed us. The other thing, too, which we were talking about, and I don't know if anyone who kind of watches a lot of content on YouTube saw this, but some of the very large creators, the Skill-Ups of the world, the 1 million+ subs came out and basically talked about how there's a huge change seemingly in YouTube's algorithm, which was driving a huge decrease in volume, which actually impacted a bunch of channels I follow, including us, too, even at SG, as small as we are. So as we always ask, if you enjoy the show, you like hanging out with us, share it. Like it, do what you can to help us out because YouTube is a train wreck right now, to be quite frank. Hogue, I'm sure you've seen the same thing. It's messy out there.
I have. No, it's been a continuing storyline since I even joined the platform, right? I am not the oldest YouTuber here, but I did start Virtual Legality in 2018, and I've seen various shifts in the way that YouTube treats content, and this year in particular, but even the last couple of months, you've seen kind of just videos that would have gone in a certain direction with a specific analytic line get completely changed very quickly. Don't know if that's AI. Don't know if that's something behind the scenes. Nobody seems to really know. But yeah, I will echo what you said, Ains. I tell you to tickle Google's buttons. It likes it when you touch anything at all on its frame. Up votes, down votes, comments, angry screeds about the current political situation in whatever country you favor. Google loves it all. So if you like this stuff, if you like hearing from us every week, I don't understand you as a person, but I very much appreciate it. So please do let Google know that you do.
Yeah, exactly. As another example, I literally can't open the chat on either of our channels right now. It will not open. So
Uh-oh.
this is going to be fun. Trying
The
to
world's
keep
a little
comments.
broken regularly.
Yeah, it's messy out here. So, but we'll go ahead and get into it. So we have our the legendary Googleman kicking us off as always. Let's get to it.
Super chat, 10 euros from Googleman81. They finally introduced large Takis Fuego bags at local Little.
Did you just say Takis?
I don't know what it is. What is
Takis?
it? Takis? Okay. I've never heard of these. What is this creature?
They're little snacks.
It's a new
He
Pokemon.
he also said little. It's Lidl.
Okay. Also a thing I've never heard of. How am I supposed to know how to
It's
pronounce
a Swedish grocery store.
Yeah, it's
Lidl?
It's
Little?
Swedish. Roll with it.
I think that's
Swedish.
I think that's pretty. I think I guessed pretty well.
You did.
Preparing to become a bloat goat now. That Marvel Zombies trailer, though.
I almost clicked the bloat goat, but I didn't want to break everyone's ears. So
Bloat
bloat goat. The Marvel Zombies trailer. I don't know what that is.
There's a trailer for the new Disney Plus, I think, animated movie. I don't know, of all the Marvel heroes becoming zombies. That has some pretty cool visuals. It's a Disney Plus show / movie, so it'll probably be bad, but I don't know.
Comics aren't bad. I'll be honest. I know what almost none of this comment means, but I think that is the point with these.
Yep. Google, thank you as always for kicking us off. Appreciate you. We got haven't seen this one before. Sentient clown makeup.
Sentient clown makeup, 2 euros super chat. What is my purpose now? It's a great question.
Yeah, that's a question.
I don't know.
for you,
Whatever
Trevor.
was
It's
your
too
purpose.
early in the show for existential philosophy. Sentient clown makeup. Is the clown sentient or is the makeup?
I think the makeup is sentient because you wouldn't say.
Maybe
Sentient
this is a
clown.
slight on all other clowns, questioning their sentience.
But what's the makeup doing in this?
It's the makeup for sentient clowns.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's not an item now. I gotcha. It's a verb they're making up. I see. Okay. Maybe.
I think that's as far as we're going with that one this morning.
That's your purpose, is to determine for us what the word sentient is modifying.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
now you have a
fair.
purpose. We solved it. That's what we do here. All right. Thank you, whoever
solvers,
you
Inc.
are. And thank you, Mr. Makeup. Yep.
That's right.
Or
Please
Mrs.
bring your
Makeup.
existential crises to us. We do solve those, but please add some euros onto the super chat in order to get solved.
Yeah. Fat Boy R with the £5.
Fuck boy, horror. This is going to hurt with my current employment status. I can't afford any of these. A trio of rolling, overlapping folks.
You do not have to super chat. It's not a requirement. We appreciate it, but if you can't afford it, please don't do it. It's okay. We'll still talk, I promise.
We will.
I say super chat yourself right to the poorhouse. Give me your money.
Oh my goodness. Thank you anyway. I appreciate you as always. All right. And then of course we've got Tide's picks this morning, which Hogue had to find for me because I had no notification and no way to find you at all, Tide, that I tried this morning, which was just awesome. So
Twitter isn't great at telling you when you've been mentioned anymore. So that's a problem. And one of the things that happens on Twitter that I really love is when I put out some kind of statement. People get mad at me for it because that's what happens on Twitter. But it doesn't share with me all of the people that have gotten mad at me. And so you'll find these spider webs of threads where people get increasingly agitated by the fact that I'm not responding, as if I am cowering in a corner somewhere. And it's like, no, Elon just didn't tell me any of you were talking over here. But it's all a hellscape, folks. Stay away from social media.
Yeah, good advice.
True. What are we themed on here today?
Hot shots, obviously.
Yep, that's golf.
Why? This is very different art styles here.
Hogue
Yeah,
kind of looks like a hunter. Like that's a hunter vest, and he's got a rifle above his head.
It looks like he's about to beat a squirrel to death. I'm really scared at what Hoag's doing here.
That's
I like
really
that the
odd.
AI could not figure out how to make a little chibi doll of me, apparently, and so bailed out and decided to make a cartoon.
Yeah, it looks like you're
And,
missing teeth a little bit down there too.
Yeah, he's also
That's
holding
it's
the
Missouri,
golf
Hoag.
club in a very odd place.
That's what I mean. He's holding it upside down as if he's about to smack something with the handle.
Yeah.
Which is
That's how I beat the other golfers.
I'll be
Travis,
honest. Yeah, I
yeah.
looked like that as a kid. That's pretty spot on. To be honest with you, that's basically like if I pulled up a photo of me from middle school, you'd be like, "Wow, they nailed it."
Yeah, the tie
Still the
shtick goes back that far.
Still the
Yeah,
ginger,
a
too.
little bit.
Yeah.
And Ain still has his classic headset and
Yeah,
he's got.
I think they
dotted
nailed me,
top
honestly.
for
I
eyes.
think this is the most accurate one yet.
Do you think the AI thinks you're like deaf and this is like some sort of medical device or something?
What's up with my eyes, dude? Why do I have like carved out eyes as if I'm looking through like a box?
Ains, that's what you look like. I hate to break it to you. You've little dots for eyes, little beads.
Oh,
You live inside
God.
the Ains shell.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm occupying an angel shell, which
Travis
even
kind
the
of looks like
shell
he
is
doesn't know what to do with the club. Like it's on the wrong side. Like
Accurate.
it's leaning over.
Yeah, well, that
Accurate.
makes sense. I'm like 7 years old here, so who knows how to use a club at that point?
Oh my God. Obviously, I would assume in hot shots or everybody's golf, which we'll touch on as well. But Ty, thank you as always. Sorry, I couldn't find them this morning, but shout out to Hogue for grabbing those for us. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into games. And I mean, I think I have to start with the game of the week, which whether you're playing it or not, took over the industry by storm this week. So much so that it it took down digital storefronts, which is kind of wild to even imagine in 2025. But Silksong, for right or wrong, has generated such a large amount of buzz leading up to its release and now release. It was pretty wild to see what happened this week. Steam went down, then the Nintendo eShop went down, then PlayStation Store was having issues. Game Pass, you couldn't download it right away. All hell broke loose. And I think in the first 3 hours, it broke over 500K concurrent on Steam alone, which is just wild. So this game's easily in the millions and millions of sold already. And it just came out this week. So I'll ask you guys. I know, Travis, you've got content heavy right now. Hogue, I don't know if you're a Hollow Knight guy, and Joe, I don't know either. But any of the three of you have been playing this or just kind of watched it from the shoreline?
I got a copy. I view it as one of my bigger mistakes of the week. I never really enjoyed Hollow Knight very much.
I love that you buy games that you just are like, I'm not going to like this, but I'll buy it.
I have lived my entire life saying I love this industry, I love this hobby, and if I have the capacity, I'm going to support it in every way that I can.
Fair.
But I do occasionally get these things that are very popular, and I feel like I'm going to have to talk about them in a context like this one, play it for a little bit, and say, oh no, that was definitely a mistake. So I got Silksong. I have played it maybe a couple hours. I know people come into my mentions, tell me I haven't experienced enough Hollow Knight to find why it's this transcendent experience on Earth. And that is true. Haven't found that in Hollow Knight yet. And I think I've mentioned it here, but the tweet that gets me the most kind of trouble is that I keep comparing the Hollow Knight franchise to the Lil Sebastian character in Parks and Recreation, which is the miniature horse in that small Indiana town where the guy from outside that town comes in and says it's just a little horse. And everybody's like, no, it's the greatest thing ever. And like, that's the bit, that's the joke. I am still that guy. I've played Silksong. That sure is a video game, folks. It's a video game with some admittedly nice looking Flash-esque graphics. It's got content in it, levels to proceed through, enemies to fight, things to bounce off of.
This is deep analysis, my friend.
I know, right? This is why you come to the show. I still don't feel it. I don't understand, but I will say this. In analyzing why Hollow Knight and Silksong don't really work for me, I think folks have heard in the past that I don't love being in these video game environments that seem so kind of relentlessly dark or sad or bleak. And Hollow Knight, the game, takes place in an environment which is like a fallen kingdom, and you're seeing all of the detritus of an attempt to be better than by the bugs. This is in a different place. You're doing something different, but it still has that kind of overall quietness and solemnity and bleakness that I don't really love. Now, people are going to call me out in maybe 10 minutes because my favorite game of the week is much bleaker than Silksong. But I do think that's part of the reason why it doesn't connect with me is I just don't like being in there very long.
Yeah, that's fair. So I got about 2/3 of the way through the original Hollow Knight. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I liked it quite a bit, actually. I just, get pulled aside, as I always do with tons of games. So got Silksong. I'm actually playing it on Game Pass, but I'm going to buy it as well just for support. Not that this game needs it by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm enjoying it. I'm about 4 to 4.5 hours in, something like that. Couple bosses down. I think I'm on the 4th region or something like that. I was talking to a buddy this morning who's played it a lot more than me, who, it's one of those games, Hollow Knight, where the first few hours are very kind of basic. You got your jump, you got your slash, you got your kind of finding your way around, and then it just builds on itself for a long time. So I'm curious to see where it goes. The people who love Hollow Knight more than me are pretty high on it from what I can tell. And they're still going through it. So we'll see how deep it gets. I remember in the trailer, they said, there's like over 50 bosses and there's all kinds of secrets. I think what people really like about this game, one of the things they really like about this game is that it flashes back to an era of like the Super Metroid type era, those types of games where it's like you just go and explore and you continually discover new things. There's a lot of secrets in the game. There's a lot of kind of things you can do that aren't initially known. And so I think it's great. I love this type of game. I think it's definitely my type of game. It's just it happens to be releasing at a time when there's so many damn games releasing that finding the time to continue to put into it's going to be challenging.
Yeah, no, we're going to get into the list, but this is maybe the first week. I was thinking about this before the show where I don't feel like even I have bought all of the games that are likely to be talked about on this conversation, right? I always have my Hoax notes and random stuff, but I deliberately had to skip on at least 3 this week, and that's super rare for me because I do like to support the industry and get everything that is worth getting, but not this week, just too much. Even on Hollow Knight Silksong's release date, there was another Metroidvania that I wanted to get that I had to pass on called Adventure of Samsara, which is the reinvention of the Adventure series from Atari. For whatever reason, they released it on the same day as Silksong. It is a pretty well thought of Metroidvania if you look at the reviews, but I just couldn't justify it with everything else I got going on this week.
That's, what's funny is I have a little Adventure was one of probably my initial favorite game as a kid when I was very, very young. And I have a little glass Adventure thing I used to have behind me. I almost put it up there today too. I had no idea. Well, let's talk offline about that one a little bit. Real quick, just for everyone, the chat is completely broken on YouTube for me. So usually I'm interacting with people on both sides of the house here. I literally can't do that today. So if you want to grab my attention, like at me or something, and I'm trying to use our streaming platform to try and pay attention to the comments. So I'll do my best here. Segueing to what you commented on, Hogue, I also bought Shinobi this week, and I bought it, and I haven't even played it for not even a minute, just because, again, there's too much to play, and I'm working on coverage. But I wanted to support it because, by all accounts, as we've mentioned before, this game is supposedly spectacular.
Oh, I love it.
A bunch of people I know playing it absolutely adore it. I saw you post about it. Hit me with it.
So Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a more traditional game than a Hollow Knight Silksong. It's not a Metroidvania in terms of scope. It's a Metroidvania in each level, so it's kind of a contained exploration game with levels that are much closer in size to the Ninja Gaiden reboot that you also saw this year, Ragebound. Yeah. But with all of that, it's got a chunky combat system that isn't the Ninja Gaiden kind of one slash and they're dead system. It's got combos, it's got artifacts, it's got all the good stuff that you like in modern gaming, with what, in my opinion, is the best art style of any of these types of 2D games this year. So you put all that together, you give it a great soundtrack behind it, and yes, you're still a ninja fighting military forces who are also fighting demons at the same time. It's just a strange kind of melange of attributes, but you're doing it. It's very pretty. You're having fun playing it. I said this last week, but much like Ninja Gaiden, and I guess Silksong, I'm unlikely to ever get far enough in it to really get to this place, but they are very challenging for someone still working through dexterity issues with his left hand. And folks that aren't doing that, it's challenging either way. But Shinobi, I think, is going to wind up being my favorite of the 2D games that all released in this kind of close 6-month period.
Awesome. All right. So Don, we have you on here. I wanted to, because I believe that Hoag's the only other person who's played this, and obviously not as much as you, considering you finished it and written up your thoughts on it. But you were playing the now Game of the Year contender, I believe, known as Lost Soul Aside.
Oh.
So
I thought we were talking about Mafia, and we went to Lost Soul Aside. Biggest disappointment of my day.
I mean, we can talk Mafia too, Hoke. So for SG lately, I've done 3 different reviews. I did Mafia, I did Echoes of the End, and I have an in-progress review for Lost Soul Aside. So yeah, we can talk all of those or any of those if you would like. But on Lost Soul Aside,
brief thoughts on Lost Soul Aside.
Yeah, on Lost Soul Aside that Ains brought up here, I listened to your thoughts last week as well. I'd already finished the game by then, so I know what your baseline thought is, and I agree with your stances, and I do think that the game has a pretty meh story. It's not like it's enough that I wanted to see the end, but it wasn't something that was driving me. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I gotta know how this ends. This is the most no. Kaiser, the main character, he is probably the most boring person I've seen on my screen in the last year. He has no personality to him whatsoever. But I actually like most of the other characters. I think that they need better performers. I don't think any of them are what I would call good, except for our friendly little dragon, who I actually do find quite charming and funny most of the time when he's floating around making snide remarks and acting all high and mighty. But the real thing that stands out for this game is the combat. And I think that the combat is really fun. I too am a story first gamer most of the time, but sometimes it is nice to just have that mindless hack and slash action, swing your sword and beat up bad guys. And there's actually a lot of diversity. How many hours did you end up playing in the game, Hogue? How far did you get?
I honestly don't know. I didn't touch it this week.
Okay. Yeah, so it's about a 22 to 25 hour game. So it's pretty long in the grand scheme of like character action style games. I'm not that well versed in those games, but I think that it is a chunky length there, and there's a really good progression system. You're constantly getting more powers, new powers, stronger powers, new weapons, powers to or abilities for those weapons, and I think that all of that together is a really good driver to get you to just keep going through the game if you are into that sort of mindless, big, dumb, fun action game, which is what this was to me as I was playing it. I felt that it's not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. $60 is a little hard to ask for. I think it probably would have been a good $40 game, maybe $50. But even still, if you know what the game is going into it, and you're like, yeah, a big action game with bad voice acting, main character, and a annoying, weird, nonsense kind of story, if you know that that's what you're looking for, you would enjoy this game, and that's where I sit on it personally.
Well, I think it was oversold partly because Sony picked up publishing on it, and I can enjoy character action games. And I can like character action games that have dumb stories. I think of Devil May Cry 5 as the most recent one that I liked in this genre, and that is the dumbest thing in the world. But it drives you forward, and I was interested in proceeding forward with that game. The opening to Lost Soul Aside is so bad.
It's horrible.
the regrets are immediate and profound that you paid for this thing at all. To me,
it's bad. It doesn't sell what's coming though. That's the thing, is because I knew that I was going to write the review, I had to get through the game. So I pushed through that really slow, weird opening, like 2 hours or so, and then you got through the rest of it. Like that's where I started picking up, is once you had done that opening and once you started getting some of those powers and started getting those weapons and you knew what your thrust of the game was, that's where I was like, oh, okay, this actually is something that I would enjoy.
Yeah, and I think it just doesn't cross the threshold to me. I have to get to some kind of de minimis level of interest
Sure.
Or else I start examining my life choices and saying, what am I doing with my time right here? I could be
Yeah.
playing any other thing. And so that's what pops me out. When that happens, when I go, okay, I really am not only just not invested, I'm actively disliking every interaction I have with any character. I have to step aside, have to go do something else, and maybe I'll go back to it. But right now, it's just a write-off for, nope, shouldn't have spent that money on that. So
Yeah,
we'll see. I didn't have a review obligation, obviously, so...
Yeah, I can understand it not hitting that threshold. It's very much a personal feeling of whether you are interested enough. I thought that it sold the world as an interesting enough universe that I wanted to explore and understand more. But what I found as I went is that it had these little disjointed parts where they would say something or you would do something. And like just one little example is there's one part where the princess of a royal family is traveling with you, and the guard is like, we can't let you out, it's too dangerous over there. And then she's like, go and clear it out for me, Kaiser, and I'll come and join you. And you're like, all right. So you go through and you clear out the area, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and get her now because I just cleared out the area. I have to tell her that it's safe. She was waiting for me at the end of the path that I had just cleared out. Like it was that sort of, it's the thing that it doesn't ruin the game. It's not even bad in that regard. It's that little like, that was weird. Why were you losing that consistency there? So it's these little inconsistencies that stood out for the story that make it fail on the story level for me. Whereas the combat and the feel of the game is really constantly progressing and feels really good with very few complaints in that front. So it's just a matter of what you put a preference on and what's most important to you. And for me, it balanced itself out that I enjoyed my time on it. And I would say that people will enjoy their time if they know it going in and they're ready to accept it. That's where I land.
Yeah, and I just know myself is that I like combat enough, but it's never driving me.
Yeah, I would
play the
never have
game.
recommended it for you. Knowing your taste and how story heavy you are and things like that, I would never have said this is a Hogue game. It's not a Hogue game.
Yeah, no, and I think the complete opposite game to Lost Soul Aside released this week, and it is my game of the week. So we can talk about that whenever you like, Haynes.
Yeah, go ahead. You're going to talk about Hell Is Us?
I'm going to talk about Hell Is Us.
Nice. I want to hear about
Grammar
this game
aside.
because I've heard, and you'll tell us obviously, but I've heard that this is a game for people, which sounds up my alley, which is like it puts you into this world and says, go figure it out. Is that true?
Yeah, so back in the day, before we had open world waypoints and maps and all these things, there were games that tried to have bigger levels, and they would talk you through with character interactions. Oh, the forest is on fire and it's to the northwest, or you have to go find this village. It's just past the windmill and you'll see it as you come over the rise, that kind of thing. And some of the big video game publishers have tried to get back to that a little bit by kind of cheating. And I think of Assassin's Creed most in this category of, okay, we're going to have an open world game. We're going to have waypoints. We're going to have markers, but you can turn them off if you like. Now, it's going to be maybe not as good of an experience for you if you do that, because we're not really anticipating that everybody's going to turn off those markers, but you can make that decision if you want. But Hell Is Us says, nope, we're not going to build it that way at all. So everything in the game is you're going to walk up to this farmhouse, you're going to talk to a person, you're going to say, I don't know where this village is, can you tell me how to get there? And he's going to say, well, you can't get there without a car. There's a car in the forest. It's up past the fence if you follow it to the side, and you're going to go up this way. And then you're going to listen for wind chimes. You're going to do that kind of thing to get to where you're going. We're not going to provide any maps. You're going to have a compass. That's really the only designator of where you're going. And then when you get there, we're going to have something like adventure mist type puzzles to figure out in order to open doors and to progress through that area, all while fighting off monsters that, in my opinion, come from the kind of, if you've seen this movie, Annihilation side of the world, like existential dread, monsters you don't understand, geometric shapes fighting you, straight out of Destiny, that kind of thing. The combat in this game, not super strong. I would call it perfunctory. It is, there's a monster, you've got a sword, you might have to parry, you might have to dodge, you're going to swing your sword a couple times, he's going to fall over dead. And there's other aspects of that are not worth mentioning. But in a world that is some kind of combination of the movie Annihilation, the game like War Is Mine, like there's a constant bleakness, there's dead tanks everywhere, there's two sides engaged in a civil war that you don't understand, about religions that you don't understand, giant towers off in the distance that you can go to there if you can figure out how to go to there, all in a world where you are asked to pay attention very deeply. So it has this kind of almost puzzle basis in advancing through it while you are otherwise engaged in a triple A or high double A kind of endeavor. So Hell Is Us, absolutely fantastic. Don't go there for the combat, though. If you love Lost Soul Aside because you like to see the lights go and the sparks fly and the swords swing, this is exactly the opposite. You're coming here for an interesting story with twists and turns that I haven't even fully experienced at this point. It is relentlessly bleak. It's kind of got a synth score. I really do think Annihilation was almost certainly the big kind of stepping stone for how they framed this game out. But it is an excellent, excellent, excellent game. I have never played anything like it. And that is always something that is exciting to me when I get into one of these games. So love Hell Is Us. Can't recommend it more. In a week where I couldn't even buy everything I wanted to, this is the game where I say, don't sleep on Hell Is Us.
Hogue, I'm curious about the lack of guiding elements and things, because you do, put yourself out as story is so important. It's like, that's what drives you and what you really love about games. And I tend towards that most of the time as well. And one of the reasons that I have been steered away from this game is exactly that lack of HUD, lack of guidance thing. I don't have an interest in having to figure out where I'm supposed to go, because I want the story to be told to me. I like being able to just say, this is the next story beat, go over there. I appreciate that the Assassin's Creeds of the world give you that option to turn the HUD off for those that like it. I'm always in favor of more options. So I'm curious why you, as someone who does love story, what gets you over that I'm going to have to figure something out before I get to see that next story beat?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't view that as any different than a combat challenge, right? Video games are really slow ways to watch movies or read books if you're there for the story, right? We're going to put all these obstacles in your way. Unlike Assassin's Creed, which says, all right, you can go in any of 16 different directions, so because of that, we're not really going to tell you a story. This is a linear story. It just isn't putting a map marker in front of your face. So it is saying you need to go and find that car in the forest, and we're going to talk to you about what the forest is, and that you're going to have to follow the wind chimes, and you're going to find your way. But that is the next story beat. There's no question about that. So it proceeds like it has a map or like it is a linear level, but it's not. You just have to pay attention to what's happening. And where you get those obstacles are in places like you're going to have to open this door and you don't know how, and you're going to really pay attention to what's happening in the environment to figure out how to open that door. And that to me is an engaging part of world building that is mostly lost in modern game design. So I haven't seen it before, and I certainly haven't seen it in the context of what amounts to a character action, vaguely Souls-ish type combat experience with all of the rest of what I've already talked about leading the way in that game. So it's
Is it
really
Souls-like?
So yes, at the end of the day, I mean, it is. It's melee combat with monsters that are going to telegraph moves that you're going to parry. If you really want to have success, you're going to dodge. If you only want like that middle range of success.
Do the enemies respawn? Are there bonfires?
So this is an interesting part. So you can turn the settings to have it lose experience and respawn enemies when you die and have to go grab it. So you can essentially turn on Souls mode, or you can keep that off. So it's like more of a progress with experience, and you kind of grind your way through the levels. So it's you really get to choose how Souls-like you want it to be.
That's cool. A good idea. See, like I said, I'm always in favor of options and giving you those abilities to customize things to make games available for everyone. That's really cool. I don't think I've seen a game do that before. Have you guys seen that before?
I haven't seen that button before. No.
I'm sure there's something out there that I'm not going to be able to think of.
No, everything comes from some random indie that sold 12 copies. But yeah, no, I haven't seen it certainly in this scope before. But that is an option that you can check or not check. And that's really the only connection, right? It is melee. It's not guns. Your guns don't work on the monsters. Big surprise there. So it's set in a fictional civil war of indeterminate placing in the world. So it's all muddy and dark and gross. And then there's monsters that show up. But just love it. And
I love
exactly
it.
the opposite of the performances of Lost Soul Just really good voice acting, really good character performances, with some monstrous random stuff in there. So Hell Is Us, get it.
I love the video game-ness of what you just said. You know, it's like Civil War in some indeterminate location and monsters show up. It's like, yes, that's perfect. That's cool. It's one I really want to play. It's just time. I will get to that one eventually. So I've heard good things about it. I know it's reviewed pretty well. I think it's like near an 8, you know, generally speaking. So it's good stuff. Travis, you've been quiet, my friend. I want to talk to you about Path of Exile 2, which we did mention last week was getting its kind of not first, but its next big update, the third edict.
Third
So
update,
talk to us.
This is a update that adds a 4th act to the game. It previously had 3, and then it adds 3 like mini stories that you play through to kind of pad out a non-existent 5th act before you get to the end game. Make some other changes, like there's now some plague creatures that you'll run into, including in the early part of the story. But aside from that, I can't really talk a ton about this because you do have to play through the first 3 acts again, which I'm still not done playing through.
Big game.
So,
Yeah, big game.
Yeah, it's a big game. So
you have to will yourself to going through a 3rd time. Would this be time number 3, Travis?
Actually, I think this is 4 because I did multiple characters on the full review. Oh, and then I also did a like preview build that I don't know if I got all the way to the end, but I played that a lot too.
I can't believe they didn't have a save or something they could give you that's like, so you've had this game for 6 months, just here's Act 4.
Yeah, it would have been nice. But the ARPG genre is also one of those games where they expect you to make a new character every season anyway. So it is sort of part of the game that you like replay.
I did run out of slots in Diablo.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
So yeah, I just haven't gotten to any of the new content. I mean, I've seen some new stuff because they add like seasonal mobs that show up and come out of the floor, and there's like, you know, green slime on them. They're like plague creatures. But aside from that, I haven't seen Act 4, and I've not seen any of the mini stories or the new end game yet. So I've got more playing to do. Unfortunately, I only had a couple days to work on Path of Exile 2 before I was put on a different review that is now taking priority. So I'm gonna have to get back to this one. But yeah, I'm working on stuff. Not a lot I can talk about right now, but
yeah.
Ains, can we pull this super chat from Mysterica Claus that just came in?
Yeah,
because this is a game I want to mention.
I've got it. Yep. So Travis, yeah, we'll talk obviously more next week. I know you've got stuff kind of in the hopper, if you will. So yeah, let's get to this one from Mysterica Claus, which I just pulled up the game and I was about to say this looks like a Hogue game through and through.
Okay, so yes, Hogue has already purchased this game. Well, Mysterica Claus says for $2 super chat, thank you. New indie game Nea released this week. Woo! So
Travis, he took your job. You see this?
I'm out here taking jobs. It is what it is.
You do you.
This economy, Hogue, come on.
This economy.
He's welcome to it. Enjoy the salary.
Yeah. So Nea is a Myst-like game published by the resurgent Phoenix-like Microprose that hits all of the beasts. Hits all the beats for a Myst-like game. No commentary on hitting any beasts, Mister or otherwise. But it is, yeah, there you go. But what I have played so far is really, really good. It's really what you're looking for if you loved Myst or Riven back in the day. It's got the full motion video characters that pop up and say random stuff that makes no sense to you. It's got buttons to press and mechanisms to figure out that make no sense to you. But the one thing that they've given you since the 90s is a logbook and essentially hints that pop into that logbook that say, you should really pay attention to this thing, or you should look for a lever here. Not so directly, but much, much more helpful than what Cyan used to give you in the Myst and Riven series. But if you like your rendered water and sound effects of water hitting the shore to make you feel like you're on an island and clicking through spots that the CDs didn't have enough space to give you the full motion video movement for, Nea is a really cool little experience that I can highly recommend right now. Much like Hell Is Us, it is a weird little thing You're not getting a lot of this kind of content in 2025. And yeah, I'm following along with Micro Pros, which I say that way because it's not the old Micro Pros. It's just names moving around in asset sales and whatnot. But I'm very interested in what they are choosing to publish and what they're focusing on. And because I think they're making choices that mirror my own, which is like, all right, we're going to buy this old name. We're going to make games available that kind of reflect that oldness. And so I think that's interesting. And Nea is one of the first to come out that I know of so far. So check it out. I don't think it's that expensive. I don't remember what I bought it for. 20, 25 on Steam. But you'll know immediately as you see the screenshots whether it's something for you or not.
It's 20% off right now. Normally $25. Right now it's 20.
But what I can vouch for is that what it looks like is what it is. Sometimes indies come out and you're like, this is what they're going for, but maybe they don't achieve that feel. Feels like Myst and Riven, folks. It even feels more like Riven than Myst. So give it a try.
Yeah. The screenshots obviously look directly like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad that Mysterica called it out, one of our regulars here, and that you've actually played it. So very cool. Thank you for that super chat, Mysterica. Just want to shout out our good friend Tal, member for 33 months as well. Sub chat, sub Bitcasters. This year is one of the Ninja platformer games galore. Enjoy your games. SG gear is great aims. Awesome. Thank you. Yes, he just ordered some of our shirts last week or week before. So thank you, Tal. Appreciate it.
He's not wrong, right?
Oh.
It's Shadows and Ragebound and Shinobi and Ghost of
coming.
Wherever.
Yote.
Where's the Ghost of? Yote.
Yote.
Thank you.
Hey.
And Gaiden 4.
Gaiden
and-
4.
Yeah.
Black 2 made an appearance
Great.
on consoles this year too, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Crazy.
if you love
actually.
ninjas, you're in luck.
People love ninjas.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, well, you gotta go ninja, go.
Stop it. There was a cool. I saw a little documentary video of talking about how they made the original Turtles movie this week, which was really interesting. Just crazy to think that
Those
lives
were
on.
bold movies.
They were,
Bold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quite
At that
fun.
time with that technology, they're like, we're gonna do it. Live action. That's
Live action
my
giant
man.
turtles. Yeah.
Good luck, dude. Good luck.
Yep. So Chronos, I don't doesn't sound like any of the four of us are playing it, sadly, but Chronos, I am very, very excited for. I've talked about that, being a big Bloober fan in that sense from a horror side. So sadly, for us old school people, the physical one comes out a little later. Plus, I don't have time to play it right now anyway. But a couple people in the chat are talking about it. In fact, Rick Davis, one of our regulars here, said it's definitely one of his favorite games of the year. So now that
Yeah, and I
he's
might
it,
still pick it up, but Chronos was one of those that fell off for me. It was Hell Is Us or Chronos, basically, for darkness and monsters. And Hell Is Us was the more exciting design for me. I really like the horror games, but I have to be in the mood for them. And generally that mood is October. So this is a little early for me there. And I usually anticipate horror games going on sale in October. So
I was gonna say you probably get a good deal on it in a month.
yep, that's one of the thought processes I had for Chronos. I also passed up on the Switch 2 version of Star Wars Outlaws, which was my game of the year last year, even though it's gotten good scores on what it's doing with the Switch 2 hardware, because I already have played that game and because Ubisoft puts things on sale before I can even blink. So you have to make these choices, folks. You do. Similarly, I skipped, even though I'm the AI golfer, I skipped on Everybody's Golf Hot Shots because either Nintendo or Bandai Namco screwed up and didn't offer a Switch 2 version. And I am not interested in trying to play that game with a Switch version going through my Switch 2.
Version.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the Outlaws release, we actually Steve for us is actually doing kind of a technical review of it to compare to the other platforms. So he'll have that soon for us at SG. On Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, which still drives me crazy. Alex did review that for us. Review went up yesterday, actually. He gave it a 7. Says it's got all the charm and kind of the unlocks and the content of the Hot Shots we all know and love for people who love that IP like myself. But he said it just feels, I guess to sum it up pretty quickly, it feels a little cheaper than kind of the fully polished clap hands PlayStation Premiere releases, if you will. Kind of like there was the budget version in some areas. There's a lot of repetition in kind of the commentary, and the look and feel isn't as nice as it usually is. So I'm still gonna get it, just probably a little bit down the line. And Alex will probably be joining us soon here too on the show, and he could talk a little more about it at that point.
Yeah, I asked him about whether I should get it or not because I've never played a Hot Shots Everybody's Golf game before, and he was like, "You'd be better off going for the PS4 one that's apparently on the PS Plus Extra." That was
really
his recommendation.
Good. Yeah, that's 20.
I was gonna say 17, maybe
17.
Yeah, 17
maybe?
or 18. Yeah.
That was a fantastic addition. I was pretty mad that we hadn't gotten one since. I saw this one late. Saw
a long time.
Namco. Yeah,
I remember
confused,
really hating the 2017 version. That's the one that ditches the characters, right? He gives you a me version, and you don't have the characters anymore.
No, you have characters.
Okay.
Unless I'm completely losing my mind. Always possible, believe me. Maybe I'm thinking of the Vita one because the Vita one's great too. Let me look up. I swear, 2014 one's really good. I don't know. We don't need to look this up on the air, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong here. But no, I could have sworn the 2017 one was just like it was kind of bringing back the traditional Hot Shots.
Okay, one of the Hot Shots golfs really turned me off because you had to create a character, and like the entire love of that series is the ridiculous people that go golfing.
Yeah, and they have their own stats and personalities and everything else. Like and unlocking them is part of the charm of the game, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there's so much to play right now. To go back and play a Hot Shots golf game from 2017 or whatever is not looking likely.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's part of the story here, right? Like everybody's golf comes out this week. Chronos comes out this week. And what do I wind up playing most this week? Monster Train 2, my continued obsession. Travis, I thanked you last week. I have to blame you this week because it's becoming very difficult for me to play anything else that has strategy in it. Because I just say to myself, I could be playing Monster Train 2. So, Travis, you might have killed like a whole breadth of gaming possibilities for me by explaining to me how wonderful Monster Train 2 is, which it is and continues to be, and is about 3 times as big as I thought it was. So
yeah. Right after
I think that deserves a turtle dance.
Hell yeah.
I just finished listening to last week's podcast where Travis was like, "Did you hit the twists yet, Hogue?" And you were like, "Yeah, I think I did." And then you told him something. He was like, "You haven't even hit the first twist yet."
Yeah. So right after the show last week, he texted Ains and I and that he had gotten to the first twist, and it was such a funny like one-liner of like a huge thing that changes everything about the game. And I was like, man. So have you gotten to the second twist yet, Hogue?
I have not gotten to a second twist, but I will say my favorite thing that this game does on the twist side of things, without spoiling what it is that they have what I call fake menus. So one of the things when you play a lot of games and you're used to things getting unlocked and added to a game is you get used to kind of looking at the menu, the user interface, and saying, all right, there's a slot there that could clearly have some stuff. This is a place where they can clearly change some stuff. And Monster Train 2 has an entire series of windows that don't give any of that away, and they change the entire configuration of your user interface when they make their big swing. And it's like, I love that. I love that you hid it from me the whole time. I love it when you guys spend the time and money to fake me out that way. So good job, Monster Train 2, and also good job just designing an awesome card game. So still thrilled about Monster Train 2. Not so thrilled about the fact that it's mostly all I want to play when I turn my Switch on now. So we're going to have to come to grips with that eventually. But it does save me money on weeks like this one.
It's true. You know what's funny, Hogue, is I had the exact same problem because I had about like a week and a half where I wasn't working on any review, and I was like, God, I have so many games I haven't finished. Expedition 33, blah, blah, and I played Monster Train 2 for like most of that time, and I was like, I'm blowing it, man. I'm wasting my gaming hours, but I had to play
it. So good. It's so good.
Really hard to put down.
Folks that are interested will hear me talk about Monster Train 2 more this week in other locations on the internet.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Will it end up on your Game of the Year list, Hogue?
Monster Train 2 will. 100% will be in my top 10 of the year.
Probably me too.
Did it come out this year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. We reviewed it. I just couldn't remember when.
It came out like a couple months before I played it, and yeah, I sat on it for a little bit, but man.
Yeah, I bought it, checked in, said, yep, that's Monster Train. Moved on with my life. And then Travis was like, no, it's not just Monster Train, Rick. Keep trying it. I was like, all right, Travis, whatever, man. And now here we are. He's like a cocaine dealer.
Remember, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Avowed and Assassin's Creed Shadows have all come out this year. And they feel like they were out forever. Like, that's how busy it has been with game releases. I'm right now just playing Oblivion finally. I finally got the Oblivion remastered. And that's been my main game the last few days while I wait for some other things.
All of Oblivion this year.
Yeah.
You did, yeah. See?
It's been a crazy amount of release.
You saw Oblivion.
I find myself, Travis, just running around.
Hard drive.
Close, shut the jaws of Oblivion.
I find myself just running around like picking locks and doors because like there's so much to do in Oblivion. It's really, I love that game. That is one of my favorite games of all time. It's really amazing to be back in there, and it looks so good. It looks so good, guys. I can't believe how good it looks.
Yeah, they did a good job on that sense. Hopefully, Travis, I don't know if there's been any update. I haven't paid attention to it on like the late game CPU and kind of performance issues that were occurring at launch. I wonder if they've made headway on that.
They have made some recent patches. I don't know if they've fixed that exactly, though. Sorry, Travis, didn't want to cut you off.
No, that's a good question. I almost never follow up with games unless somebody tells me to re-review it. So
yeah.
I always assume some of those bugs will get
Now, Ains, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you, Travis.
Oh, good.
Ains, have you punched any priests in the sewers of Rome this week? I was going to ask you about that. Not in general, as Indiana Jones.
Life, or I was in the UK a couple weeks ago, and then some of that occurred. But
Sure.
No, the other thing I was going to bring up was that it took me a second, Hogue. Sorry. Yeah, I'm hearing good things. I have not because working on a different review that can't talk about till next week, kind of in parallel to Travis. Yeah, I'm hearing very good things about the expansion. We were talking on SG Discord this morning with the SG guys about it because Peter is playing it, who's guested on the show as well, and he's really enjoying it. So I've heard good things, but haven't touched it.
Ducked my head in, and that's all the time it got this week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, that's just.
I was curious.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, we're talking about the Order of the Giants expansion for Indiana Jones. I almost said it in The Last Crusade, and the Great Circle.
That would be awesome as an expansion.
Right? That came out this week too. And Indy was my favorite game last year, honestly. So I'm looking forward to going back to that because I think it'll be a great expansion. So it's just, there's just so much.
There's too much. There's too much. And I know we have to move on, Ains. I just had one last call out here because this is a demo of a game that quickly became my most anticipated, I think maybe remaining in the year, but that comes out in a couple weeks. It is the remaster, we could get into that argument if you want, of The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, which now has a demo called Trails in the Sky, first chapter, trial version, in which your progress in that demo goes over to the game. I love that type of demo. But this thing looks awesome. Trails in the Sky is one of the more underrated but still well-known, really successful Japanese role-playing games of the last decade or so. And bringing it up to speed with kind of modern conventions, having an action combat system that goes along with a self-selected turn-based combat system, all in 3D, now with voice acting, which is only going to marginally annoy people that don't like anime. Very, very kind of anime arch voice acting. But just one of the best JRPG worlds that really cuts across a dozen or so games in the Legend of Heroes saga is coming on September 19th. Play the demo. It's free. But if you don't get a chance, get excited about this release because if it's anything like the original, and every indication indicates that it will be in terms of breadth and scope and length, it's an 80 or 100-hour RPG experience that connects with another dozen games that are almost certainly going to also be remade as part of this project. And I'm super excited about playing it in its entirety because the demo is just really, really, really good.
I'm right there with you, Hogue. I've never played this series before, but I've heard it talked about for years and years. And I have the Steelbook version pre-ordered physically because I am a physical collector guy, so I do like my physical copies. And for sure. It's not here because it's spread through like 3 different locations, but I have a vast number of statues and collectibles. Ains, I'll have to show you sometime from different collector's editions. And I am so excited to actually get to go into this world. I'm not going to do the demo because I already have the game pre-ordered. I'm fully invested and ready to try this. You know, I figured I'm coming to the end of a nearly 10-year journey catching up on the Yakuza series. I might as well dive into another decade-long journey of catching up on games as they get remade. So let's make that the Trails. I'm really excited. I've the little bit that I've seen has me so hyped for this, Hogue. I'm glad to hear that the demo is fun because it sounds like it's going to be a blast.
The demo is so good, and the choices made are interesting. They are not as kind of ground up reinvention as the Rebirth remake saga at Final Fantasy VII. It's really still the same game.
It's more Kiwami than remake, right?
Yeah, yeah. Although Kiwami was at least remaking a 3D game, so there's a lot of glow up just from going from little sprites on an isometric perspective to a 3D looking game. But I could not be more excited about this.
Yeah, the original Yakuza 1 and 2 are 3D, but they're actually like fixed cameras, so there's no camera turning in them. You're locked in how you view things. So it's a
I think I only played Yakuza 1 when they had like all that like the fancy American cast when Sega tried the first time.
That was the only one that they had a voice cast in English for until the Judgment games came out, and then ever since then they've been doing it.
It's crazy.
Well, Trails in the Sky is one to get actually excited about. Joe, I know you like world building and story.
I do.
Maybe as much as me, almost as much as me. The Trails series is best in the business on this in terms of nuance and like little details for all these locations that are used in multiple games. Each series in this series is in a different country, but in the same world. So there's all of this overlap and like what the timing is and what's happening in the various games. Just great stuff, like reading a really good novel series. But it does mean... so no, there isn't a codex in the remake. I was actually a little bit surprised about that as well. But there's not a codex. And it does mean that this series is known for this in text-based form. But it's very verbose. Lots of conversations about not going directly forward with the plot. And that becomes even a little bit longer when it's all voice acted. So you do have to have a certain amount of stomach for that, which I do, of course, but not everybody's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. No, it's great. I'm glad to hear it's the demo's fantastic, and I've never dabbled with that series, but I've heard you talk about it quite a bit. So good, very good news. Let's get to this super chat from our good friend Eric before we move on here to a bigger topic.
Game positive, $2.79 Canadian. Who's ready for some football? It's football season. I do know this.
I am ready for football. It's a pity my Michigan Wolverines were not.
I'm ready for hockey, which is not here yet, but it's soon. So
I usually think of October as the start of hockey. Is that still accurate?
Yeah. Hockey, NHL and NBA are like almost the same. They're like a week apart all year long. So if you know NBA, you know NHL. Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur just changed its chairman, just ousted Daniel Levy. So we actually might have some good leadership in Tottenham.
If we're talking about actual football.
Real football, yeah. Soccer.
You know what? Actually, real quick anecdote. So I'm on this Ted Lasso tour in England, and my cousin is Northern English, so strong accent. Hears us talking and stuff. This group of Americans standing next to us, and obviously I'm American too, but hears me talking, so he walks over to talk, and he was talking about doing a tour of the Tottenham stadium the day before, and he comes up to my cousin. He goes, "I just got to see Tottenham yesterday." And my cousin's like, "Oh, that's good, mate," you know, in his accent. And then he looks at me, he goes, "What the fuck is Tottenham?" I was like, "Yeah, that's just how it is." So
yes, the famed
Eric,
Tottenham Stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which they've never sold the naming rights to, despite it being like 5 years old.
Yeah. So moving on, one of the big things we got this week, I should say, probably the biggest thing we got this week was the big reveal. Not reveal, but I guess the bigger look at 007 First Light from IO Interactive. They did kind of a 30-minute gameplay demo where they showed 2 missions. They showed, they answered some questions, and they did this alongside a state of play from PlayStation, where they also had a PlayStation blog entry. So quite a few details on this one. I'll just kind of sum it up, and then you guys can let me know your thoughts. But comes out March 27th, so about 6 months or so, 7 months from now. You get it, if you pre-order, you get it 1 day early. So you get it on the 26th, which is kind of strange, but you get your pre-order digital items. They're upgrading you for free to the deluxe edition if you pre-order, just a heads up. basically, from a design perspective, they said they're focusing on 3 core tenets for this game, which is spycraft, gadgets, and instinct. Each of those plays in a certain way, as you would expect from Bond or 007. And they also said that there will be dedicated driving sections in the game, which can kind of increase or improve your capability of finishing a mission, depending on how quick you do them. Certain aspects as well there. So they're obviously trying to play into Bond as much as possible here. I think the action looked pretty good, and they showed quite a bit of it. There's a little more detail on PlayStation Blog. We summed it up over on SG as well if you want to know a little more about it. But after checking this out, where are you guys sitting on this from a IOI 007 kind of first take? You excited about this one?
I hope there's a performance mode. That's all I have to say right off the bat. Is
I mean, there has to be.
That frame rate was painful, and I have never been a huge frame rate snob, but my eyes were hurting looking at some of that stuff when there was like action going on.
It chunks up during the explosions and things right now.
Yeah.
I always assume that things get tightened up towards the end. I mean, one of the things we saw with the Star Wars Outlaws on Switch 2 project was all of these reports, and yes, some of them are YouTube outrage baiters, saying it's not working and all the frame rates are problematic and all these things, and then it comes out and it's one of the more impressive pieces of software on Switch 2 by all accounts. These things come together late in video game development, so I'm not as concerned about that. I'm also perhaps a little bit more tolerant of what I consider to be the NES super awesome thing slowdown effect, where something massive has exploded or some big thing has happened and you get a little bit of almost like Zack Snyder slowing down the frame rate of the camera to really enjoy the experience of that, and I've never minded that. But I did pick up on the same kind of framiness in the showcase. I guess my biggest concern is that the way they showed this game, it was kind of divided up into these various parts. So they start out by showing what is essentially a Hitman level. I mean, it just straight up is a Hitman level. And then they just transition into a car driving level, which I'm going to just be honest here, looks bad. I don't think they achieved any sense of speed in the car driving. I don't think what they were showing looked anything better than the old Stuntman driving franchise, where you have like these set points where something cool is going to happen, but it may or may not be related at all to the way you're playing the game. And I really thought that looked awful, but it's not their bailiwick, right? That's probably going to come together even later than everything else because Hitman doesn't have any driving in it. And so I wasn't impressed by that. The shooting from behind boxes and things looks like Uncharted for all the world. I do think it had the look of having some good feedback on hits and explosions and things. But I guess my biggest concern out of the project is how that all comes together, right? Whether that all makes sense in a fluid, actually sitting there playing the game state and not just showing off in a kind of E3 demo way. Because I know they can make it Hitman. I thought the Hitman stuff looked like it would probably come together okay. They had some dialogue choices in there that I don't know whether those are going to work in the long run. But overall, I am extremely excited about the prospect of it working out. I like James Bond as a figure. I like it as a game possibility. I've said in this space and in others that I think gaming has missed out on not making enough spy stuff. It's absolutely made for video gaming, and there should be more people making spy type games. I've been playing through Delta the last couple weeks, and I have missed how much I love Metal Gear. And so I would love to do more of that stuff. I have certain concerns about the boringness of the James Bond face actor. But that's somewhat minor on these things. He reminds me of the terrible Spider-Man improvement that Insomniac made, where just everybody looks like Temu or Walmart era Tom Holland. And so I don't really love that as a look for Bond, but his voice acting seemed fine. And so we'll see how it goes. I don't know the actor from Adam. I've been told he's in some things that I might recognize him in, but don't know him at all. So that's a concern, but I like IO for these kinds of projects. I like that they essentially sold it, apparently, to MGM as we're going to make a Hitman game, but it's going to be James Bond focused. So I think it's a lot to be excited about, even if it's not coming together just yet.
Yeah, Patrick, just to be clear, Patrick Gibson is the voice actor. They actually shared the cast for like the main characters of the game. Patrick Gibson is the voice actor for the main guy. or for Bond, I should say. And he's been in quite things you would recognize for sure. He's in Dexter: Original Sin. He's been in Shadow and Bone on Netflix. He's been in a few other things. You can kind of go down the list, but yeah, he's an Irish voice actor who's been around a bit. And they shared a few other names. I haven't looked all of them up, but they're on there if you want to check them out.
Yeah, and everybody that's really interested can go watch this half hour. It's on YouTube right now. The state of play is there. I don't know if that was a formal state of play or not for Sony. I didn't see the marketing. But
it was a PlayStation state of play. It's just obviously they have the marketing rights for First Light, right? So they do have a PlayStation blog article alongside it. Like I said, yeah.
Yeah, it looked interesting. I've never actually seen any James Bond movies or anything, so I don't have any particular familiarity with the character.
Don, not every
Joe's
day.
lived an interesting life.
Yeah. He'll post stuff on SG. Like, I've never played any of these. And we're like, what? Like, what are you doing over there with your life? You've never seen a James Bond movie?
No.
They're
raised on a farm without electricity.
They're
like,
pretty easy to watch.
Yeah, there's just so many other things to do and watch and read. Anyway, the point was not whether I'd seen these movies. The point was that without having seen any of them, it actually is still interesting in what it looks like. I haven't played the newer Hitman. I played some of the older Hitman games, and it was okay at that era, like the PS2 era Hitman. So this looked fun. It looked like it would be a fun time to play, and the character seemed to be well portrayed from everything I've ever seen about Bond. So, yeah, I'll wait to see more.
You at least made chat blow up because people are losing their minds right now of like, wait, what?
Yeah, and this one, when I say it's like
Wild.
Hitman, it's clearly the Hitman 3 model of Hitman, not the earlier Hitman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it seems likely based on what we've seen that they're going to drop most of the womanizing elements of Bond, which reasonable minds can differ on that.
Classic. You got to
reasonable minds can differ on that.
On what? I missed it. I was reading a comment. What happened?
I said it looks like they're going to drop most of the womanizing aspects of Bond.
Bullshit. Keep it in.
I mean, it's part of Bond's character.
Yeah, man.
I'm sympathetic to the 21st century dealing with these things. We don't know what Amazon's going to do with their Bond either. They might already be kind of preloading this for Amazon Bond.
That's also true. By the way, this is a funny comment from Rick,
we'll have to do some womanizing to make up for it. Pour one out for our boy.
Rick Davis says, Ains, that's one of the least egregious things Joe has ever said.
Wild.
That's a great
I do co-host a podcast with Rick, so he's heard me say lots of things.
Yeah, I'm a big James Bond fan. In fact, I actually took a course in college called Focus on James Bond.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
My economics professor had, I think, something like 20 James Bond posters in his office.
Nice.
Like when you say focus on Bond, like the actual
that was the name of the course.
The movie making.
Yeah, it was called Focus on James Bond, and it was a film course where we watched every single James Bond movie, and we wrote about it and studied the character, read the books. It was pretty sick. I had a thing in college where I was paying so much money for it that I insisted on taking the maximum amount of units every single semester.
Yeah.
And so I would sometimes fill in like my gaps with just, I'm taking a lot of hard classes, so I'll take something that is completely useless, but just to get my money's worth, I was very aggressive about it. So I ended up with some really weird classes, including Focus on James Bond. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the character, the movies, and I think this game looks great. I don't think anybody except for me appreciates how rare it is for a game to show like 30 minutes of unedited gameplay more than 6 months out. That's super rare because there's always performance issues and optimizations yet to be done. And I think that says to me that they, are trying to be transparent with where the game stands. And I don't know. I feel pretty optimistic about this one. I think it's going to turn out.
Me too.
Great.
I'm also optimistic.
Yeah, me as well. By the way, just quick comment for our live chatters here. So I'm having to chat through our streaming platform, and when I send a chat to Hoag's side of the house, it actually posts as Hoag.
I was gonna say, if you could put a dash A at the end, that would be sweet, Ains.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. So it's just messy right now because the YouTube chat's not working. So sorry about that.
Wait, Hogue, you mean you're not a cut right now? So that
I don't even know what that means. It sounds like he's preparing for a fight. Are you preparing for a fight, Ains? Is it the aforementioned priests in the sewers?
Not imminently.
Okay.
But anyway, I think this one's going to turn out well. I agree with you, Travis. I think it was cool to show it 8 months out, whatever we said, 7 months out from release in the state it is. They were clear about what they're trying to do with the game. And I think they have enough time to make it come together, right? If I would assume these last half of the year or 6 months, whatever, are mostly polishing, which is what usually happens on a big release like this. So hopefully it lands well. Wanted to bring up something that broke yesterday, which someone pinged me about literally as we've been talking, because we mentioned this the other week when we talked about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. There was a lot of outrage that 2 of the clans in the game were going to be behind paid DLC. So a lot of feedback on this over the last couple of weeks since we talked about it. And apparently as of yesterday, they are actually reverting course on this now. So they made a post yesterday. IGN reported on this around the team said they're making changes and adjustments they will share the details of on September 17th. So a little ways out yet. But basically, they're offering refunds to pre-orders right now. And then you're going to be able to pre-order it again before launch on October 21st. So if you're one of the people out there that's listening or watching us and you're excited about Bloodline 2, I know there were a few people kind of bringing that up a few weeks ago. Take a look at this because you want to be clear about what you're getting, when, and what you've bought, because they're making some pretty large changes, it sounds like. So.
I haven't bought any of it yet because, again, I'll probably buy it physically if it's available. But yeah, I'm excited for Bloodlines 2. I've never played the original Bloodlines, but I've heard about it and I've heard what it is, and I've been following this pretty closely ever since. So this one looks fun. I like vampires.
We Reversed Course should be the name of the Bloodlines 2 development documentary.
Yeah, it's something. So I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I mean, hindsight's always 2020, but
I heard Ains. I don't remember where I read it. I read somewhere that their thought process originally was that those 2 extra clans were not in the scope of the original game, and then they just took it upon themselves to add it. And so they said, hey, we're doing extra work than what we were originally scoped to do in the baseline, so we wanted to charge to get the extra compensation for it. That's what I'd heard about it. I can understand a little bit about that thought process, but they should have known how it would go over. That's the kind of thing that doesn't fly anymore.
Paradox management is all over the place of late. So it's not a surprise to me that they went with that initially. I still say, as I said when this first kind of came out as a news item, that my strongest suspicion is that these 2 clans are not how we think of a clan in the vampire RPG context at all. Like, these probably aren't as big of a deal as would be suggested by having 2 more clans to add to the original 4. But I guess we'll see when the game comes out. If it does, in fact, still come out on that October date.
Yeah. And I do like Paradox. I'm a huge Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis fan. So I like their publishing arm and their game development arm specifically.
Famously known for lots and lots of DLCs that might otherwise be included in a free update.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of that Sims model where they released a new game and stripped some things out. I will say they don't strip out as much as the Sims does. And the difference between Crusader Kings 2 and 3, you had to pay for each different religion to play as a different religion. In Crusader Kings 2, you had to buy the expansion. Like, there was the Islam expansion and the Hindu expansion. That's not in 3, at least. That you could play as everyone off the bat there.
That's crazy.
The Islam expansion.
It's literally called Sword of Islam, Travis.
Yeah, the Islam expansion is my favorite period of history.
Travis, are you gonna make it, man? You sound like you're dying over there. You alive?
I'm okay. I'm chilling. It's 3 people. There's 4 people, so there's just a little more chatter. I'm just trying to, bide my time
till the Sword of Islam comes out.
Oh, we don't ask him why he's biding his time. We just allow him to bide.
He's just biding. The only other thing we're going to mention this week, which kind of popped up, was a story that was reported on about Take-Two. So we know about Perfect Dark's cancellation, and the downstream impact now seems to be that's impacted Crystal Dynamics, who was partnering on the project, and they've had some additional layoffs. I think that's 2 rounds of layoffs Crystal Dynamics has had in the past year. But there was apparently a play, for it might both work maybe, of Take-Two to purchase the IP rights and try to save it, if you will, and kind of redo that. But apparently that fell through. I don't know any of the core details on this one or why, but do you guys have any additional context you want to add here?
Well, so this is a Schreier article for Bloomberg that kind of put all this news out there. It is not terribly detailed in what actually happened here. So we don't actually have a lot missing from our understanding. That's the broad strokes you gave are all that was delivered to us through that Bloomberg article. But with the context that I have of deal making and doing transactions where intellectual property changes hands, it does appear like you have a fairly standard argument between the people with the money, Take-Two, saying we'd like to buy this. We're going to invest more money to bring this to market, but we want the profits. We want the value to accrue to us. So the intellectual property should stay with us, whether that's just that game, whether it's all of Joanna Dark, we don't know. But it's also pretty normal for the company that has control of the intellectual property to say, that's fine. We need this money. It's going to die in our hands anyway. But if this proves to be a massive success, the kernel of the thing is still ours. And so we want that value to come back to us in some reasonable way. And then Take-Two sits there and says, well, we have the leverage. It's going to die if you don't make this deal, and maybe pushes harder on their side of the thing on the assumption that Crystal Dynamics will have to cave. Crystal Dynamics gets to some portion of time that says, well, it's not worth it to us to actually proceed down this road if all of the value is going to accrue to you. We don't really care. We'd rather see it die. And that appears to be from 30,000 feet outside the room. What happened here? Because I did get asked a lot of questions about why would this occur if it's of no value to the company that's holding it. And it is because at some point you say that's giving up too much. Now you can say they're wrong on that, but Take-Two might have been trying to buy it in a bargain basement sale. We don't know what the actual amount of money was going to be to change hands. And at some point, if Crystal Dynamics says, or someone else involved in the chain here, Microsoft or otherwise, says that's not worth it to us to go through all this, we don't want to be in business with you necessarily anyway, that's how these deals kind of die.
Yeah. Good times. So instead, we get to sit here and never see Perfect Dark again. Love it.
It'll be.
You got Donkey Kong, Ains. You have to stay quiet for like at least a year.
I dig.
It'll be back.
Actually, to be fair, I got Donkey Kong, I got Borderlands back, and I got Battlefield back. So I'm actually damn good right
Borderlands is imminent. I think I'm holding on to my cash for Trails, but Borderlands is imminent. I see it in my football commercials.
Nice. They are on top of it. Like they have
Ains
videos
just watched
like every
the
day.
Borderlands movie recently. He really enjoyed it. Thought Kevin Hart's
Don't
performance as Roland was really good. So
that's admittedly a video game movie I have not seen.
There's a lot of background and context to his comment just now, but which we won't get into until next week.
You're not denying that you have seen it.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
He watched it and loved it. He will be releasing a review for that next week.
Travis, I'm going to assume that you saw this movie only on a monitor on the seat back in front of you, that you paused and tried to show just gratuitous scenes to the seatmates that you had the entire flight.
I wish that were true, but I have also not seen this movie. Ains watched it twice, though, devoured it.
Oh, I'm up to 2 times now. All
Absolutely devoured
Nice.
it. His third watch, what I think was his favorite. Third viewing.
I'm one of those 3 people. Yeah.
Yeah. He liked it even more than his 5th viewing, I think.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that next week. The last thing I was going to mention this week is Helldivers 2 hit number 1 on the Xbox store, not like a week or 2 after Xbox was like for the top 5 on the PlayStation store. So as we've kind of joked, the new era is upon us. It's going to be interesting to continue seeing how this takes shape, but it has been cool to see all the Helldivers kind of memes and community and everything else just kind of embrace everybody coming on board and playing together. It's been really cool to see. I know a bunch of the SG guys have been checking it out as well. So seems like good times, and the fighting for democracy?
Managed
I played a little on
democracy.
Xbox.
Managed
Yeah, it's
democracy.
managed
That's fair.
democracy, which
Yeah.
is just fascism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a little bit on Xbox. Same game.
Yeah.
It's a
decent
perfect
game.
fit for the
It plays like the
ecosystem.
one on PlayStation. Shocker.
Plays pretty well.
Yeah.
I got the ODST pass unlocked. I'll probably never
Okay.
see that skin actually get unlocked, but whatever.
Do you have to like do
got
a
it.
bunch of stuff to unlock it?
Yeah, you have to play a lot of the game, and
You can expect a lot more Sony stuff to come on over with that response.
Yeah, I ain't got the time for that. But it's a good game.
Cool. You too busy watching Borderlands?
Yeah, sixth viewing was the best one. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up here, Don, or just have it at this point.
It's what I'll answer to both. It's fine, really.
Joe, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us. Please shout out. I know you've done a couple reviews. You also have a show that you co-host with some of the other regulars around. So please go ahead and shout out where people can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter /X at Joseph_Law_Rusa. I pretty much just post there to chat with people and advertise things. I don't just generally post my thoughts. But yeah, you can check out my reviews for Season Gaming on the Season Gaming website as Don Lionheart. Like I said earlier, I did Mafia, the Old Country review. I really, really loved that game. That was great. The gameplay was fine. It was good gameplay. I didn't have anything particularly noteworthy, but I thought that the story, while not full of twists and turns, was just so excellently done, and the voice acting performances really just phenomenal. So check out that review. You can hear all my thoughts on that one. I also did a review for Echoes of the End, which was this really small AA game. I think it was like a studio of 40 people in Reykjavik, Iceland. That I enjoyed that game as well. Not the best game, definitely one of those first attempts kind of things, but check that out. You can see my thoughts there. That one actually is a $40 game that I think is a little bit more worth the price there. If they charged 60 for that, like Lost Soul aside, that would not have been a good purchase. But at $40 or 35, because I got it when it was a launch sale, well worth that price, I thought. And yeah, I co-host the X Button podcast on Xscape Gaming with Alex Segovia, the Slayer Giant here on YouTube. You see him comment sometimes. And also with Rick Davis, another regular. He is another part-time co-host. We kind of just rotate in. We do a little rotation of who's chatting with who and when to keep it fresh for the audience there. So check us out over there, and then check out the upcoming Lost Soul Aside review. We're having some conversations and reviews to try and clean that one up right now still, but we'll get that out as soon as possible. And yeah, that's it for me. Looking forward to the rest of this year. Some great games coming out. Trails looks good. Nod Cry, the new little new expansion for Genshin Impact, comes out soon. Shineznaya, here we come. That's it.
All right. Joe, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned Reykjavik. I was just there. So when I edited that review up and we got it published, that was pretty cool to see as a team over there in Iceland. So
yeah, it was. They seemed to be really dedicated to their game, and one of the things I noticed of it, Ains, was just like they basically took the landscape of Iceland and digitized it into that game. There, it was very, very beautiful to when you were looking out at the vistas. So yeah,
it looked
thank
like
you
a lot
for
of
having me
volcanic
on.
rock in the trailers.
Yeah, there was for sure.
I can speak to actually from being there now is accurate. Yes.
Yeah, but thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been great to be here and hang out and chat with you guys again. Always enjoy hanging out and talking games.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Hogue, I'll hand to you first this week.
Sure. Well, I think folks who are subscribed to my channel might have seen a community post that I put up earlier this week that said, I am potentially making some structural changes to the channel and to other things that I'm doing in the world. And so that is going to prevent me from making content for at least a little while here. And so I apologize to anyone that was looking forward to any specific thing from me in the last couple of weeks. Probably still another couple of weeks left, I would say. I'm sorry for being cryptic about that. I'm not trying to put coded messages in on anything. I'm just not prepared to discuss what may or may not happen in the near future. So I appreciate everybody for sticking with me through those kinds of weird notes. But it does mean that I have no particular wares to show for this last week. Probably won't for a little while yet, but I will be in other places online in the next little while, specifically about Monster Train 2.
Fair enough. And I like the reference there. So with that, I will segue to Travis. Show me your wares.
I will show you. Oh, am I delayed here? Oh. Are you guys seeing my
Now you're
camera?
really doing the turtle dance. Yeah.
Staggery. Oh,
You're good. Just focus
okay,
and
got it.
talk.
Sorry, my I think this camera, they updated the app right before the show, and it's not going well for them. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. I can talk about almost none of it, but I'm hopefully going to finish that Path of Exile 2 review. We'll see if we have time because might have missed our window there. I'm reviewing some other games I can't talk about. Got some cool previews coming up of some upcoming military shooters, some upcoming announced expansions to games. I got a lot of stuff coming out, but it's all later. And goodbye until then.
That happens. We'll obviously have a lot more to say next week. Borderlands 4 is the big release this week on I think it launches midnight on Thursday, whatever your time, local time. Well, midnight Eastern on Thursday, but it is local time. So I think it's 9 p.m. Pacific and wherever you live. So check that out. They have released that, and we'll talk a lot more about that next week, including a full movie review as well from Travis. On the SG side of the house, we have, like I said, I'm going to be doing a video on that Razer controller, the updated tournament spec controller for PC. You can check out our Hot Shots review. You can check out Lost Solicide review coming this week from Don, as he mentioned. And then we also have another review up of a small game I didn't mention today, which is One-Eyed Lico. It's a small horror game. Very different kind of experience, but Ray, who's a big horror fanatic, who I've mentioned many times now, did that review for us, and that's up on the site too if you want to check that out. So otherwise, thank you as always for hanging out with us. Yes.
You didn't mention that Alex's Hot Shots review is Season Gaming's 250th review on Open Critic.
I didn't mention that. No, that is true. That is true.
It's a celebration. That's a big milestone.
Yeah, 250 reviews on Open Critic for a small site like ourselves is it's a big thing. So it was good. It's cool to see. Alex was happy that he was the one who hit the 250 mark, which was cool. So yeah, thanks for shouting that out.
Yeah.
As always, like I was going to say, or like I said at the top, YouTube's acting really weird. So share this out. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next Sunday where we can talk about a few more things that we couldn't talk about this week. But until then, have a good week of gaming, and we will see you then. Peace.